G'day, Mark from Mustard Bikes here. In the workshop today, we've got this MT800 Explore, and we're going to show you how to fit one of our tail tidies from start to finish. Now, our tail tidy doesn't work with the radar, so it will disable the radar, but we've gotten the Explore just so we can show you how to disconnect that radar if you do want to fit it to a bike that has a radar fitted. You'll also notice we've removed all the racks off this bike. That's just so that we can have a bit more ease with filming and get you a better view of what's going on, but you can install this product without removing any of the racks. Before we get started though, we're going to need some tools. This install was filmed with an early release bike. As bike designs are updated and revamped over the years, some aspects of this installation may have changed. Please check our video description below to find out if there are any changes to the installation process shown here. To get the job done, you'll need a Phillips head screwdriver, a 5/8 or 16mm spanner, a ratchet with an extension and a 10mm and 8mm socket, a Stanley knife or a hobby knife, and a pair of side cutters. In the box you'll find the card that led you to this video, an aluminium cover plate, a large cable tie, a small bag with a bunch of nuts and bolts and another cable tie in there as well. And then in here, wrapped in paper, you'll find one of the arms for the tail tidy, second arm for the tail tidy, and the face plate itself. And then also in the very bottom of the box, you'll find two pieces of adhesive foam. In the bag, you'll find the aforementioned cable tie, 4 plastic spacers, 3 nylock nuts, and a small countersink M6 bolt. Now we have everything we need. We're going to start by taking our key and removing the pillion seat. Under the seat, you'll find the wiring for the rear fender. Pull it out, use your side cutters to cut the cable tie and remove the protective sheath, and then disconnect all the wiring. We're going to disconnect all the bullet style plugs, but the large white connector will leave connected. If you have a radar, you'll also find a third wire here. We'll disconnect that later on. To remove the stock fender, we're going to use our 8mm socket to remove the 4 bolts underneath it as shown here. Be careful when you remove the last bolt to hold onto the fender so it doesn't fall to the ground. Gently remove the wires as you do so. If you have a radar connected, you'll notice there's one wire that's still hanging and attached. To disconnect the radar, you'll need to pull apart the 2 halves of the stock fender. You'll need to do this anyway further down the track. To do so, use your Phillips head screwdriver to remove the 2 screws on top and the 3 screws underneath. Once you've separated the 2 halves, you can locate the radar unit. On the side of it, you'll find the plug. Push the white clip out of the way and then you can pull the whole plug off. When you disconnect the radar, the only difference will be that the radar icon on your dash will display red instead of green. Now we have the fender removed from the bike, we can move over to the bench and assemble the tail tidy. To remove the indicators from the stock fender, we're going to turn this upside down and we're going to use our side cutters to cut these 2 cable ties. We can then use our 16mm or 5/8 spanner to undo the indicators themselves. And then we can pull the indicator out. Going to feed the nut and washer off all the wiring here. And then pull that indicator out. Now, it is important just to make a note of which side this indicator came off. So, of course, we then do the same with the other side. So now we have both those indicators removed, we can continue with the tail tidy assembly. We're going to start by fitting the foam to the two mounting arms. Just pulling off a start of the edge. And we're going to run the foam along this outer edge of the arm here on the top side. So just start up here, and then just making sure we don't overhang. We're going to feed that along. And once we've got that in place, just give it a bit of a squeeze to make sure it's made contact. And then we can take our Stanley knife or hobby knife, and we're just going to trim the end of this off. So that one's then ready to fit, and of course we do the same to the other side as well. Now we have the side arms prepared, we can start to assemble the tail tidy. We're going to take the faceplate here and just unravel the LED bolt. And then we're going to start by taking one of the arms and popping it on the side here. Take one of the nylock nuts and do that arm up. Now we want to do that up just a little bit firm, enough that there's still easy enough movement in here. So we're going to take this little cover plate. So the cover plate goes with the pointy end down here. Then there's the countersunk bolt on this side. Now you'll notice with this cover plate as well, there's these little tabs, and those tabs line up with the slots in the side arms. So you're going to put that one in place there, run the countersunk bolt through, and then we're going to place a nut on that one as well. Same thing again, not completely tight, just tight enough to hold it in place. And then of course we do the same with the last arm. Pop that one in place, align all the components, and then pop on the nut. Now at this stage, we're just going to make sure all these arms are relatively straight and aligned. And then we're going to do these two nuts up just a little bit more. Again, they don't have to go super tight. Because what we're going to do later on is do this one up, and these arms still need a little bit of movement in them for when we fit it to the bike. So with that done, we can then fit the indicators. So now, as mentioned before, it's important that we get the correct indicator on the correct side. So you'll find that this one has the blue wire in it, and that one's going to go on the right hand side here. So as we fit this, we're going to fit the wire through, and then we're straight away going to fit the flat washer, the split washer, and the nut. And then we're going to continue that wiring through this little hole in the side arm here. And that's going to bring the wiring to the inside of the tail tidy. It's a little bit fiddly, this step. Once we have that through, we can pull the wiring all the way through. We can then position the indicator and do them up. So Just rotate that indicator until it seats properly. Then we can take our spanner and do it up nice and tight. And then of course, we do the same to the other side. Now, the last thing we need to do before we can fit this to the bike is just to take this wiring, pull it all to the back here, and then we're going to take our one cable tie, and you'll see in this cover plate there's a couple of holes, so we're just going to run that cable tie through the holes, and then back up. Capture all that wiring, and do that cable tie up. And then take our side cutters and trim that cable tie. And that assembly is then ready to fit to the bike. Now before we fit the fender eliminator, we just need to do a little bit of prep on the bike. If you had the radar, we just need to feed that wire up through the access hole and get it out of the way. And then inside the kit, you will have also received these plastic spacers. Now you'll notice the hole's bigger on one side, so that hole goes facing upwards. We're just going to pop those on the standoffs that the stock fender was mounted to. You'll notice they'll just push in place and hold themselves there. We're then going to take that fender eliminator and take all the wiring and feed it up through the central access hole here. And then going to position the tail tidy up to the bike, take one of the original bolts and use that to line up with the original mounting points. So we're just going to take one to start off with, just so it holds it in place. And then we can take the other four and also get them in place. Now that we have all four bolts started, we can use our 8mm socket to tighten them up. We're going to start at the back of the bike and just do them up evenly as we go. Now that we've got the tail tidy up in place and done up nice and tight, we can take our 10mm socket this time and our Phillips head screwdriver and just tighten that lower bolt here. Take the large cable tie that came with the kit and install it into the wiring shroud as shown. We can now reconnect the wiring, making sure to match all the colours correctly. The LED bolt is wired red to brown and black to green. Before we continue, we're just going to do a really important safety check while we still have access to the wiring. Take your key, turn on the ignition, then just make sure that that number plate light is lit up, that your indicators are working on the correct sides, and then because we've been mucking around where the brake light connector is, I just like to quickly check the rear brake light as well to make sure that it's still operating correctly. Now if the indicators are on the incorrect sides, all you have to do is swap those indicator wires over. If the LED light isn't lighting up, swap the black and red wires over and that should fix the problem as well. Pull the shroud over the wiring and do up the cable tie. You can trim the cable tie with a pair of side cutters. Lastly, reposition the wiring back to its original state. If they had the radar, you can also neatly tuck the wire back under here as well. All that remains is to fit your pillion seat, fit your number plate, and take your bike for a ride. Now it's a wise idea after you've been for a few rides, just go over everything, check that all the nuts and bolts are still tight and that all the lighting's operating correctly, just in case. Hopefully this video has helped you with your install. If you haven't yet purchased this product and you'd like to, mustardbikes.com. We make a whole range of tail tidies for a whole range of bikes, including numerous CF-MOTOs. Don't forget to get in touch with us. We love hearing from our customers. Tag us on Instagram, get in touch with us on Facebook. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time. We can take out, now, all that remains is to fit the pillion seat.